Hello and welcome to the Day 3 lesson for Upward Bound Advanced Math Cryptology. Today we're going to be looking at Caesar ciphers, but we're going to look at breaking or cracking Caesar ciphers. We looked yesterday at encrypting and decrypting Caesar ciphers, and today we're going to be looking at when we don't know how to decrypt it, but we still want to figure out what it says. So it says here that Dan and Tim were passing notes during class, but Evie intercepted the note. Okay. The first note that we see here has a 7 up there. So I'm going to guess that it was encrypted with a, I had to make sure we were recording. Encrypted with a shift of 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7 turns an A into an H. Okay. We want to decrypt this note. So it says APT. Well, what did A come from? So I'm working outside in. A came from T. So this says T. I bet we can guess because Dan and Tim are sending notes. P came from I. And T came from, we can't alphabetize, M. So it says Tim. P came from I. O, came from H. H came from A. C came from B. L came from E. H came from A, Z, S, L, E, J, wrong J, look at the other J, there it is, C, Y, came from R, L came from E, and A came from T. So it says, Tim, I have a secret. Let's go ahead and continue. S, L. L is E. We saw that already. And A is T. Z is S. It says, let's. T is an M. L is an E. I have 2 of those. And A is a T. So let's meet. And K, D, A, and U, it came from N. So it says, Tim, I have a secret. Let's meet. From Dan. Sorry. So decrypting this it gives us some kind of issues that Evie just stole this note, and Evie, having the knowledge that we have, can figure out what the note says. It shows that the issue with ciphers regarding that you need to send the ciphertext and the key. Okay, that would go in these 2 blanks. So somehow, in order to send a message and for your buddy to understand what the message says, they need both the ciphertext and the key. Okay. So then there's a second note. But we notice that it's missing something. It's missing the key. It's missing it doesn't have this 7 up here. So maybe they used a 7, which is what I have on this wheel right now. But when we look at that, the first letter is a one-letter word. And could it be F? Well, maybe with, slang nowadays, maybe that would be okay. I don't like to broadcast that in class, but but I don't think that we have many one-letter words that are F. So what else can we use to kind of crack this code? Well, one thing that we can use that letter M, because there's only 2 one-letter words in English that are actual words. Okay? And it's either that M is going to be an A or it's going to be an I. Those are the only 2 one-letter words that hold any meaning in the English language. Okay? So let's start off and let's act like, because it is a guess and check process. We are going to have to do that when we're trying to crack codes. So we take a guess. We say, let's let M be A. If M is A, then this says A, and then P, where's P at? Right there. D, A, O came from C, and I came from W. Well, is D, A, C, W a word? Not that I can think of. So maybe that's not it. So we go back to where we made an assumption. We assumed that M came from A. Well, let's take another guess then. What's the other option? It's that M came from I. So let's see if this makes any sense. It says I, P, L, M came from I, O is K, and I is E. It says I like. Well, that could make sense. Go ahead and use that to decipher the rest of this, to decrypt the rest of this message, setting M coming from I. Okay. You can pause the video if you need some more time to do that. All right. So that's what we're looking at today, is how to crack messages. And there's a couple things that we can always use. Number one, use one-letter words. There's only 2 of them. So if you have a one-letter word, set it to A or to I and see if that works out. You don't need to do the whole thing. We did the first 2 words where, we set this to A and then we had DACW. Doesn't sound like a word to me. Okay? But doing it here, it says I like. And you probably found out I like Evie. Okay? So Dan wants Tim to know that he likes Evie. And so he's trying to code this message so that when she gets it, she doesn't learn from a piece of paper that Dan likes her. Okay? So just, something to think about. So here, now we're trying to decrypt these, and we're really trying to crack these by figuring out what the key is. And it says, let the one-letter words help you. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way that you can look at trying to break Caesar ciphers is if you have like repeated letters or some other things that we'll look at as we get going here. So first one says, what do you call a happy lassie? I'm going to let E come from A. Now this is the same cipher wheel that I had before, but let's see if it works. So E came from A, N came from J, S came from O. I moved that a little bit. P came from L, LL, and C came from Y. So it says a jolly. Well, jolly is a word, so maybe that is it. Then G came from C. S came from O. I have two more L's. M came from I, and I came from E. So a jolly collie. Look at that. On the next one, it says it's a riddle. Knock, knock, who's there? Cash. Cash who? And we have a one-letter word, O. So let's see if O is A. So O came from A. Q, T, K, C. Q. Again, I can't alphabetize right now. It came from C. T, F, K, K, W, and C, O. So this word CFWO, that doesn't sound too good. Okay, I don't think that's a word. So let's back it up. We did take a guess. We guessed that O was A. Let's instead guess that O is I. That O came from I. So this would say I, Q, there it is, came from K. T came from N. K came from E. And C came from W. It says I knew. K-N-E-W, knew. That sounds like a word. Let's keep going with this, see if it still makes sense. E comes from Y. O. Oops, sorry. U came from O. And A, other A, goes to you. I knew you. Oh yeah. That's acting like English, right? So I think that I'm doing that right. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish that and do the last one. There is another page to this, but I just to kind of keep things going a little bit here. So basic strategy for breaking Caesar ciphers is look for one-letter words. And set them to set to A or I. I'm going to capitalize that to mean I, me personally. Okay, set them to be that word, and that's where, trust me, I is this one-letter word. I is the hardest thing for me to write lowercase, but we like to write plain text as lowercase. Okay. So when you've got one-letter words, that means you've got two options. It is a guess and check. Take a leap of faith. Try one. Write it in pencil so you can erase it. And if it's not right, you erase it and try again. Okay. Now looking at this next one, it's a quote from Albert Einstein, and you could probably look it up, and that would be okay. But that's not getting us what we want to get to. It is a Caesar cipher, but we don't know the shift. Okay, I do have a one-letter word that's M. I have a one-letter word down there also. No, I don't. Okay, so I do have a one-letter word that's M, and so I could go that way. I also have a bunch of two-letter words. Now there are more two-letter words in English than one-letter words. But they kind of follow a pretty decent pattern. I have an, I have am, I have at. I guess to get my S's out of there, I have so, I have of. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of repeated letters though. We're seeing a lot of A's, some O's. I have to, and I'm trying to think if there's any that I'm missing. And am at, so of, to, Oh yeah, the I's. I have it. And if I had an apostrophe, I could see I'm. Right? The contraction I am. So there's only so many of those, and you can kind of use those to sort of cross-check your one-letter words, if you will. So for instance, like if I look at my one-letter word M, and I say, let's go ahead and let M be A. We can quickly check the other one-letter words to see if they make sense. Like here I'm setting M to be A, and I have MR. MR is a one-letter word, or sorry, a two-letter word. So that would be A, and R comes from F. Now, if we're keeping slang out of the equation here, that's not looking too good. Kind of like my HS being a two-letter word would be V, H comes from V, and S comes from G. I don't think VG is going to work out for us. So letting M be A doesn't look too good. Oh, I guess I'm missing if also as a two-letter word. Okay. So I'm going to let M be I because that's my other option. And let's see how that works out if I let M be I. So then this would be I, and R comes from N. Forgot that also. N. The list is growing. Oh no. Okay, but still, I know it doesn't seem like it, but there are only so many two-letter words that really work out. And this one's really nice to talk about two-letter words because I also have this HS that doesn't use the I or whatever I let M be. So HS would be D. There's another one I forgot. S comes from O. So do. That's another one that makes the list. Do. All right. And so this is seeming like it's going to work out. Let's check it with bigger and bigger words as we go. Nothing says that you have to go in order when you're decrypting. Okay. In fact, a lot of times it doesn't really make sense. And now in Caesar ciphers, I can see more of a reason to go in order. But another strategy is if I'm saying this is good, now maybe I'm going to check it with this word going just straight forward. So R comes from N, S is an O, and X comes from T. It says do not. So I think this is going to work out. Okay, I think that this is going to be the shift that I know of. So what I would do at this point is say, I know S came from O. I'm going to find all my S's and put O's. Otherwise, I spend too much time looking at a letter, finding a letter. Look at a letter, find a letter. It gets really monotonous. Okay. Instead, I'm just going to go through and do it this way. Just say any S that I see, I'm going to put an O. Any S that I see, I'm going to put an O. I'm out of S's. I know M's are I's. I'm going to go through and I'm going to find all the M's, and I'm going to put I's. Okay, like I said, nothing says that you have to go in order. Okay, sometimes this is a little bit nicer, and it doesn't feel, this is a long problem. This is a long quote. And if I have to do it this way, it's going to be painful. I know that H comes from D, so I'm going to go through and find all my H's. They're all D's. There's not very many of them. Okay. And then I'm going to look for a letter that I probably have a lot of. I feel like I have a lot of V's. And V comes from R. Okay. Is that right? V comes from R. Yeah. That is what I'm working with, right? Yeah. All right. Just double checking, kind of triple checking what I have here. So I feel like I have a lot of V's. There's quite a few in here. Just going through. Okay, then as I'm looking through here, I feel like I have enough E's that would warrant me looking at that next. E comes from A. I feel like I did something backwards. Yeah, I did, especially there. No, I guess I'm good. Yeah, E comes from A. So any E's I see, I'm going to put an A. Let me just, for my own sake, okay, yeah, that works out. Sometimes you can get to second guessing yourself a lot on this. But anytime I see an E, I'm putting an A. And then another thing that I do need to say for this, when you see ciphertext and you see this straight line and you wonder, is that an I or an L? It's all capitalized. So that's the way that this font writes an I. And so I see a handful of I's in here, and I'm going to go through and get those done. I comes from E. So wherever I see an I, I'm going to put an E. And if you like this method, use this method. If you want to just go straight forward, straight one letter after another one, go ahead and do that. It's just as good. At some point, I'm going to be like, okay, well, I've got to pick this one because it's only on here once, but I've got to figure it out. I do know that X's come from T's. I do see an X. I see another X. I see another X. And I might be missing some as I'm going. I'm trying to do it as quick as I can, but it doesn't always work out. Okay. Yeah. And so now we can kind of pick and choose some individuals. W, C is Y, F comes from B, Y comes from U. And like I mentioned it before, at some point you can guess with kind of a Wheel of Fortune strategy. Call it a Wheel of Fortune strategy, because you can kind of start to piece things together and try to make it go a little bit quicker. But you do want to check it also. Like I think this word is probably difficulties, but I'm also going to check that Y is U, P is L, and W is S. Okay. So W is S. I'm actually going to use that. Don't think too much about what that says. And I think I had some other ones in there. I had a Y is U. That might be my only other one. Yeah, nope, there's one. Okay. Yeah, then let's go with Q. I don't think I've done that yet. It's an M. I saw another Q down here. L is H. I think that's my only L. Nope. There's another L. Oh yeah, Q's are M's. X is T. I remember saying that. G comes from C. C is Y. R, N, and I think that's about it. K is G. So the quote is, do not worry about your difficulties in mathematics. I assure you, oh, there's another X. I assure you that mine are greater. Okay. In the last one, and I'm just going to talk about it, and I'm not going to do it all, I don't see any one-letter words. So outside of one-letter words, I can look at two-letter words, especially when I have them with some repeated letters. But there's one other thing that I see twice that I can use to help me figure this out. It's not a typo, but I have two things here that I can use to help myself. and it's the apostrophe. Actually, I see 3 of them. For some reason, I wrote that one different. Okay, so I see apostrophe B, and then apostrophe A. And there's not many words that follow, or not many letters that follow apostrophes. In fact, these 2 words are the same. But then this one is something else. Okay? And so we do want to guess and check. There is guess and check that's going to happen. And this feels like, with the number of letters that's here, I can accept that these 2 don't match up. Okay? That the apostrophe B and the apostrophe A. But it feels like this could be like doesn't or didn't or something that is apostrophe T. So I'm going to let this B come from T and see if that makes any sense. Okay? Now the trick is, I'm not going to focus here. I'm just going to start off. I'm going to go from up here. Okay? But I'm also going to look at apostrophe A. Could that be like an S? Well, it is. So this could be like its. I bet it is. But I'm going to check this and see if that makes a word, and then I'm probably just going to let you go on the rest of it because this video is getting a little bit long. So R comes from J. C comes from U. A comes from S, and B comes from T. So that gives me the word just. I think it's probably okay. But thinking about where apostrophes are used in the English language, this could have also been an S saying somebody's, right? Apostrophe S is pretty common. But so using those other kind of context clues to figure out a possibility is going to be a huge method in cracking Caesar ciphers. Okay, so that'll be it for today. Go and finish what I didn't. Other than that, have a great day, and we will see you next time.